Welcome to ExpandAbilities Meets, the podcast where mindset, resilience, and real conversations help shape complete athletes. I'm Alex.
I'm Rob.
Each episode, we dive into the mental side of athletic performance, the stories behind the struggles, and the habits that help athletes grow on and off the field. Thanks for being here. Let's expand our abilities
Yes,
together.
thank you.
You ready to get into it?
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. So, this week's episode, ADHD, or otherwise known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay. So, this topic is kind of, I mean, it's a big deal like any other topics that we cover, right? But given the past couple weeks we've done suicidal ideation and autism spectrum disorder, this is kind of a notch below, I'd say. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, maybe not a notch below, but it's just looking at a challenge a little bit differently. That's all.
I can see that. No, absolutely. And so for those who are tuning in via YouTube, Rob is on his way to work and he has a 45-minute drive. So this is our way of going about expandabilities meet this evening. So hopefully he doesn't go across any cornfields and lose service because that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, there is one spot that may be a challenge, but I should get connected right back. So
We're gonna make it
hopefully,
work. We're gonna make it
thank you.
work.
Exactly. Let's go. Let's
See,
do it.
we're
Let's
optim
go.
we're optimists. We're optimists. So it's best case scenario, I just got to keep talking, which is okay. We can make that happen. Um, so ADHD. Okay. So fun fact. I know this is kind of the nerdy side of me, but so in regards to the DSM-5, there used to be a difference, ADD and ADHD, right? So, but now it's only ADHD, and there's just different kind of concentrations per se. So
Yeah.
like obviously the hyperactivity still is a part in ADHD, but there is just an inattentive version of ADHD as well. So when they diagnose ADHD, that's it. There's no ADD anymore. So I don't know if you knew that. I know that's kind of like, a snoozer, but just thought I'd let
Well,
you
yes, I didn't know that. To be honest with you, however, I did know, especially when I'm running my IEP meetings for some students. Most of them have ADHD. So
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of those. So typically in the IEP world, their qualification per se is other health impairment, but then it always specifies, hey, the ADHD is pretty high here. Like it's a big deal. Their inattention is through the roof. Like I have a couple students right now who their ADHD is so bad where it's completely impacting their academic performance. And honestly, they don't feel like they can participate in athletics, which I mean, I'm not in their mind, right? We can't read minds. We don't know what they're thinking, but at the same time, it's like athletics can teach you a lot about life. And I know we say that every single episode, but I feel like the skills you learn in athletics, especially starting at a young age, could be transferable to the classroom in every other aspect of life if you have ADHD. I mean, I'm a proponent of that, like um
yeah, yeah. One thing with that, I do have a couple of wrestlers that I know for sure have ADHD, and I think one of the reasons why they are a little bit successful as far as teacher wise, because they're very interested in what they're learning. Do they lose focus? Yes, they do. Do I get frustrated? Yes, I do. However, however,
you frustrated? Come on.
not me. But I take a step back and understand that they have other challenges that they're dealing with. So I'll make it work.
Well, yeah, and I think with ADHD, the big thing, and like you hit it on the nose, man, it's just like it's if they're focused on something. And I know when we did autism, our autism episode, we talked about like when someone has a big interest in something, right? So ADHD can be like kind of a co-diagnosis with autism is what I've seen. Because if someone's interested in something, then their focus is going to be there. You know what I mean? Like
right.
they're not going to lose focus if they are so invested in trains, right? And I know we talked about trains last episode. If someone loves trains, they're not going to lose focus. They're going to try to learn every single fact they can figure out about trains, right? But if you come to them with like a math question, it's like, I'm going to start thinking about something else, right?
There's like a lot of steps for them. Them like going through those steps, like, I'm losing focus.
But they don't notice it. You know, and that's
Yeah,
the thing with ADHD. You can't just like come back to, I'm not going to say reality, but you can't just come back to the to what you were doing. Like you have to you have to be prompted. You need constant reminders. How do I know that? Because I have ADHD, if you can't tell. Um, so I mean, personal story, personal talk. I grew up with ADHD, and I know that's kind of the thing now. ADHD is way overly diagnosed, without a doubt. I agree. Um, and whether that be the inattentive side or the hyperactivity side, or maybe a combination of both, I do have the hyperactivity to a T, constantly moving. I learn best by moving, and I think of myself as kind of a kinesthetic learner, but also visual. When it comes to listening, it's always been really hard for me. And that has also impacted athletics for me. As an athlete, as a coach, it's been a lot better since it's something I'm interested in. So, like we talked about, but growing up, I had an IEP in elementary, middle school, um, and specifically for reading comprehension and my not diagnosis, but like the uh, classification area was ADHD, and never wanted to get medicated. Uh, and I'm happy I didn't because I learned so many life skills, like just how to advocate for myself. If I don't know something, if I don't like, if I just need a little extra time with something, that's when it really helped. And then by the time I got to high school, I didn't have the IEP anymore, and so that was a huge,
yeah.
huge moment for me. And then eventually going to college and doing everything without medication. I think of ADHD as a superpower, and that's always been how I've seen it. And I know everyone has their
So
own
when did
opinions on meds, but that's just been my journey.
so when did you realize you didn't need it anymore? When did they like retest you? When did they reevaluate you?
The
What
IEP.
was that process? Yeah.
So I
No,
remember,
you're right. You
uh,
ADHD. You said you didn't have it.
no, they said I didn't need the IEP anymore. So I always, obviously the ADHD doesn't go away.
Oh,
So ADHD was just like,
exactly.
I mean, I did a lot of testing, right? So like testing as in academically, so we did like reading tests and we did comprehension tests, and I was performing at grade level or at least close where, and for IEPs, I mean, it's typically you're performing at a lower grade level, right? So I was just excelling. I mean, I'm not a academic genius by any means, but I was determined to do well so I can get out of certain classes, if that makes sense. And then that's kind of that's when
Sure.
they determined you don't really need the IEP anymore, So I was like, okay, cool. I mean, obviously my parents had a play in that, but we got you.
Oh, good. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, so ADHD, it's a challenge. I mean, and again, that's why we're covering it right now, is because it's a challenge. It's exactly what it is. And the different types of effects it can have on someone could be, I mean, the big thing is it's hard with focus. I mean, that's always what people think of when they hear ADHD, but it doesn't tell you what to focus on. And even when the biggest thing I've ever been told with this is even when someone wants to go on medication, it can help with focus, but again, it doesn't help you. It doesn't tell you what to focus on. And I think that's the thing that really just hits home is like I remember I took medication for a short bit, not a very long time. It was a stimulant medication, and it was weird. It was weird. It was like being having drinking 12 cups of coffee in one day. Um,
All right.
like Yeah, you were not going to sleep if it was not midnight yet. And I just remember that I was so into picking my skin instead of academics, which is the whole reason I got it. I wanted to focus more on it was in college, so I was wanted to focus more on my classes and my homework and stuff like that. And then I, it was just weird. I can't describe it. I just remember one night I messaged my doctor and I was like, "Hey, you need to get me off of this because I don't like this. It doesn't feel good. I don't like it, and we need to move on to something else. Like this is not working." And just kind of felt like a panic attack.
Right.
I don't know what the issue was, um, but after that, I'm like, I don't want this again. And I just remember when I got off the stimulant medication, I slept for like a week because you don't have to get off of it kind of just slowly. You can just get off of it. So whatever dosage you're on, done. Get off. And I was shocked because, like with antidepressants, you got to take your time getting off of it. But I just remember taking practically a week-long nap where I just wanted to sleep all the time because what that stuff does to your brain is interesting. And for some people it works. That's okay. I mean, I'm not going to judge anyone, but for me, it just didn't work. It's a personal thing for everyone. So I don't know if you know anyone who's been involved with that stuff or has tested stimulant meds or go for it.
I mean, my son, he doesn't like to take the meds either because similar to you, he says it makes him feel different. He's always had a hard time focusing on one thing. He's you know he's always, I don't want to say he's always everywhere, mentally, but he is sometimes. He could be focused on one thing, and before he even finishes it, his attention goes somewhere else. I
Yeah.
want to do this now. Then he's going there. I'm like, okay, hey, man, we have to figure something out. You have to finish what you started. And
So like,
that was me growing up, him growing up in his early years. That was me just not understanding the diagnosis. However,
no.
as I read up on it and work with students with it, I completely understand the challenges that he was going through now.
And that's the thing, like we can't read minds. And it sucks because when a kid always tells me like, what I'm supposed to be doing, or I don't know. I can't think of the scenario in my head, but one of my favorite lines is like, "Oh, I can't read minds yet." Like hopefully one day it'll be a superpower.
Yep.
Um, but I feel like people with ADHD, it affects them differently. Like, yeah, the focus, I get it, but have you seen that? Because I know you work with a lot of individuals with ADHD. I know I do,
Yeah, I
and
do.
the impact it has is so much different. Like for some kids, it's like like I don't need any accommodations. I don't need any help. I just go through life and that's it. The other kid is like, I need every accommodation in the world. I am struggling here. My grades are suffering. I'm not doing any extracurriculars because of it. So it's just like a drastic difference. And it's sad, honestly, because it's like you want every kid to succeed and be put in the position to be successful, but they're not given the tools or maybe guidance.
Yep.
And some are, like again, every situation is different. And that's what I mean. Being someone with ADHD and growing through it and, getting a college degree and accomplishing a lot in 26 years of life. And like, I try to help kids as much as I can, right? Like, I try to be a resource. I try to give them advice, especially working in the high school. Like, that's a place where kids need it the most, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the
So how do
biggest
we
thing is
how do we
being a
help him?
resource.
So how do we help coaches? How do we bring this
I mean,
to
it seems
athletics?
like the similar theme with coaches' actions for everything is just being an ally, being a resource. Um, if you have athletes, and you might have something different, but in my opinion, if you have athletes with ADHD, they might need a little extra push. They might need to, and this was me. I like to sit down with coaches and go over things. Um, like I want to make sure I'm doing what I have to do correctly. I want to make sure I do my job correctly. I grew up a football guy, so I wanted to make sure like if I messed up, like coaches called me out on it, but that's just a normal coach, right? You make a
Yeah,
joke out of it, you build that relationship so it doesn't hurt the player, right? But I feel like if someone does struggle with inattentiveness or with focus, like just focus, like focusing. But I feel like if someone struggles with that, it might need to take a couple reminders. It might need to take some different types of showing what you want them to do, right? So I'm a huge proponent for uh, visualization. I want to see what I'm supposed to do instead of just being told what to do. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's one way how I coach. Not only do I like show them, I walk it, I talk it, and then we walk through it. I'll talk about it, then I walk you through it, and then we'll run it. Then we'll run whatever play it is. So I just
Yeah.
make sure that they are completely understand why and what's the reason behind it. Why do I want you to do this? And that's important. Once they understand that, I feel it definitely helps them uh, understand that, hey, this job is very important.
Well, and it's funny you say that because like that's one of the, coaching 101 right there is I do, we do, you do. And I love that because it's demonstrations. Like even like I know we're in wrestling season right now, like if a wrestler has a question, I always show them because especially in wrestling, and you would know better than anyone, it's really hard to explain a move without showing it, right?
Oh, for sure,
Dude,
for sure. That's definitely true.
I remember when you were here, when you were trying to show a duck under, I don't know how many times you had to show it, but imagine if you had to explain the duck under to 50 middle school kids.
Yeah,
And it's just
with
like,
a with ADHD. Oh,
yeah, I mean, literally, the majority of them do have ADHD. And I get that statement all the time. Like I tell some parents I'm a special education teacher, and they're like, "Oh, so you're gonna have some of these kids?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
thank
So I'm like, it's not a bad thing, we can help them
That's
pass and
right.
go through life. That's what matters. Because being in our role, it's more than just teaching a sport. It's all about, teaching them life lessons and how they can adapt to life and kind of make it through without the struggles. And like it's a given they're going to struggle. It's a given there's going to be challenges, but giving them the tools that they can overcome. I mean,
Yes,
I feel
and
like that's what we're here for.
yeah, I love working with students that have a little bit of challenges because then that really helps me hone in on my coaching skills and my empathy
Do you
overall.
do you remember without naming names, but do you remember that kid we had in wrestling? I believe he had autism, but he seemed like he was always hurt, but he continued to come every single day and push through.
Yeah,
You remember that?
yeah,
And
yeah,
do you remember when he won a match and the whole team went crazy?
yeah. It's near the
Yeah.
end of the season, but we're like, hey, it's going to happen. I said, trust me, it's going to happen. We're getting down to a here because one of my mottos is that, hey, in wrestling, there's always someone worse. So you're going to get a win somewhere.
And
And
it was so unexpected. And then the first thing he came off the mat went to his mom.
yep, it's great.
And I'm
It's
just
a great
like,
sight.
that's a time where like, and it's like this with all of our sessions here. It's regardless of your ability, you continue to push through. And I feel like with ADHD, everyone has that learning style that works best for them.
Yeah,
And like for me, it's conversations. I need to be able to talk to someone and ask questions. And that's going to be how I learn. Because I just feel like with ADHD, your mind, I like to think of it as your mind is kind of um, a factory. Every factory works differently, right? And now no factory is really the same. A bread factory works different than, I don't know, uh, a car factory, right? So it involves different parts, different pieces, and different process. And that's how I like to think of it, is because the way I learn is definitely a lot different than how you learn. I mean, heck, you got two master's degrees.
yeah, Yep,
You
I do.
you love learning.
I love learning new things that is challenging, except math.
See, I don't mind math. It depends on what kind of math. Like calculus, like it's a no-go for me. But algebra, I do like algebra.
Yeah,
So, hey, if you need
ever need
algebra,
exactly. I was going to say, if I ever have to take another exam, I know where to go.
exactly. Um, but something that really was hard for me, with especially with having ADHD, was test taking. And I feel like when it comes to sports, when you're in a match or a game, it seems like that's a test. Like if you ever experience anyone who's like freaked out in that moment and just like seems like they forgot everything?
Yeah, I have a student now. She assignment wise every day, all that does well, does great. However, whenever it comes to test exams, she freezes. I said, "Do you not know the material?" She said, "Oh no, I know the material. Just just whenever it's test time, I just freeze." So,
What
we,
about any of your athletes?
um, it's hard to say because this year my freshmen they were just challenging overall. They were just challenging as a group.
That's like our
I feel
freshmen.
they're just super immature. Um, and right now I'm still learning my eighth graders, my junior high students. I'm still learning that. But I do have one wrestler that he's super athletic. But I could tell that he does have ADHD because you know, he can't stay focused more than 5 minutes. You know,
So
we're working on a technique. He'll do it, and after that, he gets bored and does something else.
do you do you feel like the instruction time, and I mean just in general, do you feel like the instruction time, like do you try to keep yourself on a timer almost like in your head, like, hey, I need to do this quickly or else
Yeah,
I'm gonna lose their focus?
yeah. I mean, it depends on the technique. If I know it's a boring technique, then right after that, I get them going again with 22s. Then I'll go to something different.
22s.
So yeah, so that's just helping them get refocused and then get back down to work. Hey, you might lose me here.
Oh,
So
this is it.
you may lose me. I don't know.
We might not. Hopefully. I don't want to lose you. You're too valuable to us, Rob.
Yeah, that's good. Like your language, I change that. I don't want
Um,
to lose this conversation either.
no, we can't do that. We lose the conversation. Imagine what it does for everyone else. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat, be like, what just happened? Um, but no, like ADHD, man. I just remember being in college and I was taking a special ed course, to become a teacher initially before I went into rec therapy. And we watched this video on ADHD. And I remember calling my mom that, like, it was freshman year, it was special ed 101, right? And I called my mom right after, and I'm like, Mom, I just watched this ADHD video in class. It was a lecture hall, the big kind of, well, the big area
Yeah,
with like, yeah, with like, it's a big theater kind of.
yeah, like
And
couple hundred students in there.
yeah, yeah, there are definitely a lot of students. And I asked my mom, like, oh, I know, I told her, I said, hey, I think I have ADHD. And she's like, you definitely do. Like, without even question, she's like, yep, you have it.
I'm
I'm
not
like,
gonna argue
oh,
with
thanks. I'm like, it seems like I just got like, it was a awakening at 18 years old. Never really thought much of it. And then after that, I'm like, like, it's the same deal like your student, like I had issues with tests. I was so bad. I was terrible. And I'm like, I need to pass tests. Especially I was in physics that semester. Whew. I don't recommend college physics to anybody. Shout out to Utam Mana. He was a G. He was great. Um, but I
the dead
needed,
zone's coming up.
huh?
Anyway, I said the dead zone's coming up.
Oh, let's see what happens. Should we wait with anticipation?
No, Just keep talking, keep talking.
Um, but yeah, I called my mom and I was like, "Hey, I have ADHD." She's like, "Oh, I'm well aware." Um, and so from then on, I went through the diagnosis, the official diagnosis at like 19 years old, 20 years old, and I'm like, I got my accommodations in college, and it did wonders for me. It was awesome. So
Right?
if kids don't notice
So
that
what,
they have something, that's definitely good to speak up if something doesn't seem right instead of just going along with the flow.
so what did your accommodation look like in college?
My accommodations were I was allowed to take my test in a different room. So it was cool. So I went to Illinois State, for those who don't know, which is awesome. Great university, great experience. And so they had this whole different kind of building almost, and you can go in there and take your tests in these individual rooms, which was awesome. I loved it because it was just you. There was a window, so if you get, ADHD, you get distracted, look out the window. Uh, it's like a dog.
Yeah,
Um, and then I had some extra time as well, but I don't think I really used that. But it's always good to have those options in case, if you want to, it's there. It's more so a mental thing than it is a literal thing because like extra
yeah.
time just makes you feel like you have the time where if you need it, cool. If you don't, cool. You know what I mean?
Makes
But
sense.
yeah, I mean like I always recommend people if they don't feel comfortable with something to speak up. Like I have students right now and they feel like they're going to be seen as stupid if they say something. And that bothers me. Like I don't want students to obviously think so negatively of others because that's just not what we as humans should do. Um,
Exactly.
Especially since, like I said earlier, everyone's brain is a different factory. It works different. And even though some things might be easier for one, it's going to be a lot challenging for another. And it sucks. I have to approach these students and be like, hey, like I'm just real with them. Like, hey, like no one will care. If they say something, they're jealous. Like you gotta speak up. You gotta talk to me. Like for my freshmen, like you have me for 4 years. We gotta do something here. We need to develop some type of you know, relationship where you feel comfortable
Relationship.
asking
Exactly.
me. Yeah, like you need to
Sure.
ask me when you need something. Because if you just go through and act like you don't need anything and you just fail, then it's not good. It feels like crap.
Absolutely.
It's the same way in sports. I mean, you got to build that coach to athlete relationship. I mean, if you don't and you have something like ADHD, then the coach is just going to think, well, maybe you just don't care. Um, because think about it, as a coach, if you don't know your player and they just go out on the field, for example, and they totally run the wrong play that you've been practicing for 2 days, they do the wrong technique, they do this wrong, like you name it, you're going to be pissed off, right?
Oh, for sure. Beyond pissed.
Yeah. But think on the other end and think like, hey, this kid has some attention issues.
Yep.
I just have to keep reminding them that I'm a little bit more lenient if they do mess up. And then
Well, it's
if it's minor, you still commend them on what they did right. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. It's okay to be me, like I said, I'll be beyond pissed. However, I also have to make sure that I understand, his challenges or her challenges. Um, and then always fall back on myself. I need to teach this better.
Yeah.
I need to I need to teach this better. So
It's almost like you want to teach it in a way that everyone can understand. As basic as that sounds, like I want to make sure I teach this technique in a way that maybe in different ways, like not just one way. It's got to be universal, right?
yeah,
Where like I want every single kid on this team to take away something from today's practice. Sure, like some might not be starters, some might not be varsity, some might not be this, some might not be that, but the idea is if I can go through an entire 2 hour practice and someone takes away one thing, just one thing, then today was positive.
then we did our
It
job. Yeah, it was a
exactly.
positive day. Yeah,
Even if, I mean, I have a couple like this. I don't know about you. Even if that is knowing which foot is right and which foot is left.
Up to I here's and I'll be honest with you. One of my basic challenges I'm working with one student is them learning how to put their own shoes on and tying their shoes.
Oh yeah.
And the mom or the dad was in there trying to help him out. I said, "Don't help him out. He's going to figure it out." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because once we get to actual matches and everything, he's not going to be the one that's last, still trying to figure out how to tie the shoe." I had
Yeah.
last year, so trust me. By the middle of the year, they know. Oh, I need to get my shoes on. Or it's 22s,
Two, 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 two.
222.
My wrestlers hate that. They hate it so much. 2 minutes and 22 seconds to run 22 down and backs. If you do not make it back, there is a penalty.
Yes.
Hey, have your kids so if they can't tie shoes, have they done the old tape technique where you just get some tape, you just tape your laces on there? I've had that before.
Yeah.
We go through so much tape, it's not good.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna always tell my I have another parent meeting tomorrow. I have to remind them, say, hey, you need to make sure your son or daughter has their own roll of couple of rolls of athletic tape so they could tape their laces
Yeah, I haven't had
for
that issue this year. Well, I mean, I don't know what happened to kids with Velcro on their shoes. You know, like obviously it's not just Velcro, but typically some wrestling shoes have Velcro, you know, and
yeah.
it's always their safety net if their shoe comes untied. I remember I remember this last week we had a duel and two kids got stalling warnings because their shoes weren't tied. I'm like, you had all this time to tie your shoes and you wait until you're out on the mat in a match to tie them. So now like you got a warning.
Yeah.
So
Second one's a point. So be wise.
well, that's the thing. I told the ref, I'm like, hey, like call them out on it. Like I don't want them to treat them like, you know, I mean, obviously I want them to learn. And by learning, they have to learn by failure. And in this case, failure is losing a point, you know, the other team being awarded a point. So is what it is. That's always what I want for all my athletes is I don't want them to be treated differently. I want them to be treated just like an athlete in the sport that they're participating in. Because if we coddle them, if we you know if we treat them like something less, then they're not going to take anything away. You know,
Right.
so that's my thoughts. But um, yeah. So this was ADHD. I'm sure it's ADHD is fun. I mean, for people who have it, they get it. Especially the hyperactivity part. Uh, I love to think of it as a superpower. So, with that being said, um, this has been Expandabilities Meets. This is where mindset, resilience, and real conversations help shape the complete athlete all around mind, media exposure, and physical performance. Um, we always enjoy coming on here and talking to you guys, and especially just having real conversations that, you know, some might not want to have. And that's what we're here for. And we look forward to continuing this and eventually having some individuals on to discuss their stories and struggles and have those types of conversations. So, if you're interested, feel free to email us info@expandabilities.com. Again, that's info@expandabilities.com. Please don't forget to subscribe if you listen to our podcast regularly. You can find us on any podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, it's out there. Go find it. Expandabilities Meets with Alex and
And Rob,
Mr. Robert Harris. Um, we appreciate you guys joining in this week. And our next episode is going to be on learning disabilities. So we are going to break that up. And it's very broad, but we are going to break that up into different types of learning disabilities that we have covered in the past. So please feel free to tune in on that, and we look forward to that one. Rob, anything else?
No,
All
I
right.
appreciate
Well,
I appreciate everybody allow me to take this on the road, literally.
yeah, literally, we might have this experience again sometime, which is okay. Maybe it'll be me one day. But we make sure that it's both of us here. This is your Expandabilities Meets team. I'm Alex,
I'm Robert.
and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye.